Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends all around the world, welcome back to another World Cup edition of Touchline Banter. I'm your host, Shayan and Ruben, alongside my good friend and co-host, Ruben Chavez, also known as Ray Chavo, on the Twitterverse. Guys, it's World Cup season, into full swing. At the time of this recording, it's going to be basically end of match day one, so all the teams have played their first game. But obviously, because of timing and releasing of the episode, recording, et cetera, boring stuff you guys don't need to worry about. Some teams may have played two. Definitely Canada did, and we'll definitely get to that result. But we've got the jerseys out. I got the Germany one. I can see Ruben's got the Scotland one. Shout out Scotland. John McGinn, GOAT. But yeah, it's amazing time of season. I can speak for Ruben as well. We've loved the games. Interesting results. A lot of upsets. Some surprising results. Atmosphere has been great. I haven't been downtown. I don't know about Ruben for Toronto specifically, but it seems like it's just everywhere has been really lively. I know the restaurant I work at gotten good turnout for the game, especially the Brazil one. Sorry to Brazil fans. But yeah, it's been great. Ruben, what are you thinking? Have you enjoyed the World Cup? Anything specific you want to touch on?
No, yeah, I think you nailed it. It's been great so far. I think people were really worried about the expanded field kind of diluting the quality. And while obviously not every game has been really close, and some of them maybe you could say have been close because two teams with lack of quality have faced up against each other. I do think most of the games have been really entertaining. There's been a lot of goals. We've only really seen a couple lopsided results here and there. And some of those were ones that we expected. And again, like going into the third or fourth day of match day one, I think European teams hadn't even won a game. Like besides Scotland, I think won one, and then Germany became the second team to win it. There was a lot of draws. There was a lot of losses by European teams. So that goes to show you, like, I think sometimes Europeans, because that is where the best football is played, obviously the highest leagues or whatever, they can get into this mentality that like these other confederations, because you expanded it, it's like, oh yeah, what's the DR Congo gonna do? What's another like CONCACAF team going to do, right? And I think we're learning that you can't just be so like wave your hand and be like whatever, because there are some teams that got a legit upset against teams that were very like favored, and then like I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but like I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, it's been really great. I have been spending a lot of time in the downtown of Toronto because I had a friend who used to live in Toronto and I used to work with at the restaurant, who moved back to Scotland for some personal reasons, but he was back because he's actually going to watch the game today to let you know when we're recording. We're recording the day that Scotland played Morocco in Boston, so we got tickets to that, so he's going. But he was here from Saturday until yesterday at like 3. So spent a lot of time going out, drinking, watching a lot of the games. So it's been a very booze filled and very
definitely
very hype week for me and for the World Cup. So yeah, it's been really exciting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I went to the bar with my friend. Went to St. Louis. It was a Tuesday wing deal for those who don't know in Toronto and Canada. We watched the Argentina-Algeria game. We'll get to that. Yeah. Talent is definitely not genetically transmitted in terms of Zidane. We'll probably talk about that.
Tough, yeah.
But yeah, I guess we're gonna start off with a little bit spicy takes. They're gonna start with teams who have not impressed us, and then we'll talk about teams that have, and maybe any like specific results or any things we want to make out. Is there anywhere specific you want to start? Any specific team that you like to go with, or did you want me to?
No, I can start. Obviously, I think there are a couple obvious ones that people are going to want us to say quickly, whether it's because of an agenda or because genuinely they think that they underperformed. I'm not doing this to spare my blushes, but a team that I think underperformed that a lot of people had kind of proving that they were going to shed the label of dark horse and become a real force. I think Turkey, it looked really bad.
But yeah.
And like the reason I'm highlighting them first is like, yes, like I'm sure we'll probably touch on Portugal because we both have opinions on that. I mean, they were your pick to win it all, and Brazil, who also struggled to a draw, and were my pick to win it all. But I think you can forgive a draw in day one of a tournament. You're still in a position to win your group, especially these teams don't have groups that you would say are impossible to get ahead in. but Turkey was the favorite in their group, and they dropped a game against someone that they were expected to be. Like it wasn't even a question, right? And when you look at the fact that maybe someone that we'll talk about that impressed us, I won't give away the name yet, but that that team played their first game and looked really good in a way that I don't think many people expected against a team in that same group. If you're a Turkey fan, or if you expected them to look really good, you'd be worried. And one of the things that really troubled me, it's like they were having trouble creating, and then at a point, it was just Arda Güler and Çalhanoğlu just taking deep range shots. And like, I know Arda Güler loves a deep range shot, but you have to be getting something better. Like it just felt like, so this is what we're going to do. We're just going to like lump it in from 35 yards out and just like, all right, we're going to see if it works. Like, I don't know. I felt like, because Australia didn't just beat them, I think they outclassed them for a lot of that
for
game.
Sure.
They looked
like they defended
really
with
well.
6 after they scored the goals, but like absolutely, they still like outclassed them. Like before that,
they carved them to pieces at times. Yeah. So it was So I don't know. I don't know if you have something to say about Turkey, but that's my first team that I would say really, I was shocked by how they looked. Like I expected more.
Yeah, with Turkey, it was very, very weird. Like there was a weird energy around them. Like before the game, you can see Arda Güler, he's speaking to the team in the tunnel, and then I figured out on this other podcast that he's basically saying that like, yo, we're one of the best teams in the world. We're better than this team, like Scotland, Australia, sorry. And he's like, let's go and show it. And like, you could just tell that like it didn't really like click in that in the tunnel. And then when they went out and performed, obviously you saw it. We both had them. I think I had them topping the group, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I think we both did.
Yeah. Everybody, in my opinion, was really bad. And like this, again, it was rudimentary like mistakes. And this was just like the simplest way of Australia finding ways to carve open their defense. So like you said, you can forgive a draw with a lot of teams, Portugal, Brazil, Spain. You still have a point, and winning under your next game changes everything. Like we saw yesterday for Canada, but this is not the Turkey team that I expected at all. And yeah, like Ruben said, is this the case that like they've been kind of quote unquote dark horses for the longest time, and then now people are kind of figuring out how to play through them? I don't think they play as bad in their next game, but something definitely seems off. And the coach is definitely not helping it either with any of his like substitutions or his tactical guidelines that he was giving out. So yeah, that's how I feel about them. They're making me regret my pick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say. I think you kind of nailed it, like the overhead problems. And I do think it is very tough to go from plucky underdog that we're expecting to do better than we think to like, okay, now you're a force. And like, I feel like that's the trouble with these golden generations. And while Belgium gets a lot of criticism, and Roberto Martinez, who may get more criticism later today in this episode,
don't get me started,
gets criticism for how he handled that Belgian team, I do think it's worth remembering that in 2018 they lost to France by a goal, who ended up winning the World Cup, and that like he did ultimately maximize. I think if you want to say that he should have won a Euros or like gone to a World Cup final with that squad, I don't disagree, but I think you would be unfair if you don't acknowledge the fact that he took a Belgium team deep into more than one tournament, and it's a country with a limited pool of players who don't often get to the highest level, right? So you can acknowledge his failings while still being like, he still accomplished a really good thing. And I just wonder if Turkey have a manager who's going to be able to do that, because it's obvious like this might not be the finished version of their golden generation or one of their golden generations, but obviously when you have Arda Güler, Kenan Yildiz, like you're going to expect a lot. You're going to expect a lot.
I agree with that on like Martinez's point. I remember watching the game against France in the FIFA Fan Fest in Russia, because I was there for 2018, and realistically, like France knew that they were against a better offensive team, and they just kind of like outplayed them defensively and got like a corner. If the game goes the other way, I could easily see Belgium winning it against Croatia in the final. But obviously, ifs and buts, we don't deal with those. One thing specifically for me, like you mentioned with Çalhanoğlu, like I don't want to spend too much time on this. he's like really fallen off in the last like season and a half. Like I know he's getting older, but like
he's just age. Yeah.
What is he good at anymore that you start him for? Like I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I don't want to disrespect a player who's a national team's player, but like genuinely, like might be time to just bring him off the bench. I don't know. Not
perhaps.
Great. Yeah, not great. A team that I'd like to touch on that I really didn't like at all, Spain. Boy, this team. Okay, we know that going into the game against Cape Verde that they're going to hold a very deep and like flat defensive line of like 5 at the back, and it with just banks of 5 and 4. And the goalkeeper made amazing saves. Great story for him. He started out with like 50,000 followers on Instagram, and now he has like 2.4 million. So shout out to that guy for becoming like famous for all the saves that he made.
That was really fun.
But similarly, to like what I said in the preview, that why I'm not big on Spain, there is no good striker in this team at all.
Yeah, so I think like we can make that our next, obviously, disappointing team. Not that we had them going very far. We kind of expected them to be disappointing, but I would say that they disappointed in the large view of like this is a team that people expect things from in the World Cup, and they did not do it. Weird for me to have to be this guy when it comes to a Spain team full of Barcelona players that I think are overrated. But to be 100% fair, Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal both don't start in the game because they are injured or coming back from injury. They obviously play later on. I do think, though, the lack of a true number 9, and I mean, even the fact that beyond them, and this obviously was a tactical decision, De La Fuentes could have played players in this position or in different positions than he did. But Gavi as a left winger, oh my God. Like, I think it, and I try not to be so like, I have my Real Madrid bias. I try not to be like so anti whatever. And so when people were like, oh, there's no a Madrid player in the Spain national team, I was very fair. I was like, you know what? Like, I think you can make an argument that, maybe he could have brought Housen, because Housen is talented, but he didn't see enough, and Housen had an up and down year. Carreras, the same thing. Like, I think those are talented players that could have offered something, but if he didn't see enough in the season, that's his right. I don't think either of them had a season where you can be like, oh, blah, blah. And same with Gonzalo. Gonzalo had really great moments, but like, obviously didn't do enough to show. And I think that to ignore that would be to be unfair. What the fuck is Gavi doing? What's his role? What's he good at? That's honestly, that's like, what's he good at? Because like, you can have a role and not be on the pitch and whatever, if you're like a Jordan Henderson type, which he shouldn't be there either, but at least fucking Tuchel can look you in the face and be like, he's here for veteran experience and the vibes. What is Gavi there for? I know it's not vibes. Have you ever heard this man talk? He's a charisma vacuum who's like, sounds like he's missing a fucking brain cell. Like, I know it's not vibes. He can't be a fun hang. I'm sorry. He just cannot. Like, so I want to know what the fuck he does. Like, I'm genuinely looking at him like, do you do anything?
No, I don't disagree with your point.
And by the way, fucking Pedri, best midfielder in the world.
Oh God,
where he at? Where is he at? I couldn't see him.
Please, again, this has nothing to do with anything about Real Madrid. Again, my friend who's a neutral and just loves soccer, he's literally like, what the fuck does Pedri do well? He's like, why is this guy starting? It was just sideways passes, nothing good. This game reminded me a lot of the game that I went to again in the 2018 World Cup when Spain played Russia, and I was at the game in Luzhniki Stadium when Russia beat them on penalties. Craziest game of my life. One of the craziest nights of my life. I was out partying till like 7 a.m. That place did not sleep. Obviously, granted, like it was Moscow. But all they did in this game and that game, pass it left, pass it right, pass it left, pass it right, pass it back to the goalkeeper. Left, right. Try for some stupid thing in the box, doesn't work, and go back. David Villa and Fernando Torres were the last good strikers that Spain had. And Alvaro Morata, obviously, in was never a good player in any of our opinions here, but he got a job done but he wasn't, genuinely. He got a job done in the Euro, but it is what it is. Oyarzabal came on in the final against England.
I was about to say, like, Alvaro Morata is kind of like a Giroud, but like that's disrespecting Giroud. Giroud did stuff.
No, Giroud does so much. Giroud does so much more than Morata. Yeah. Listen, he had one good run in a cup. Congratulations to him. So many players do that, but genuinely, like, he was nowhere like near any of the world class strikers that they've had. Oyarzabal came on in the World Cup in the Euro final. He scored. Congratulations, credit to him. But he was terrible. He was dog shit. Ferran Torres, same thing, was awful. I have no idea why De La Fuente doesn't start Dani Olmo, because Dani Olmo is perfect for what you're facing against, breaking down a low block. Am I the biggest Dani Olmo fan? No. Again, nothing to do with Barcelona, but I just don't think he's like that great.
He would have been the pick there. He would have been the pick.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
That's what fucking Flick uses him for at Barcelona. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And then Lamine Yamal comes on, and again, I'm gonna quote my friend. He was like, first of all, he said something funny. He's like, the Spain team looks like a bunch of teenage boys just looking around for somebody to make the next correct move, which honestly it did. And then Lamine Yamal comes on, and obviously he brings in a breath of life, but again, he can't do everything himself. And again, his minutes have not been managed. You can tell that he's tired. He's playing too much, and he can't do everything on his own. And again, with no striker down the middle, there is, nothing for him to feed in and from someone to supply to. Absolutely on form. Gonzalo Garcia on form likely didn't deserve to get into this team, but for the profile of player, and given that he's a young guy, he could have had 100. There you go. Exactly. He could have absolutely done something. I will say this. You can tell me that I'm wrong. Cabo Verde, aside from defending, I think they had the better chances to score. They did.
I don't disagree. I think Spain lacked a lot of anything. I don't know. Yeah. And I think that's where, like, again, to give a compliment to Barcelona, Hansi Flick does encourage them to make passes that are risky, to take a risk, to be dangerous. He has players like Rafinha, like Lamine Yamal, and even someone like Pedri, who I don't rate. I think he encourages Pedri to play passes that take a risk, like not just be like the stereotypical like cycle play. Like Hansi Flick is never going to play tiki-taka. Like I don't think his thing is just like possession for like ultimate control. Now, while De La Fuentes isn't doing that, it's clear that some of those principles are still there in the Spain team. And it felt like it was a lot of possession with like, not a lot of risk. I wasn't sat there like, oh my God, they're just getting super unfortunate. They're hitting the bar. They're doing this. I did not feel that. Like this Spain team, we picked them to be a team that could bow out earlier than people think. The jury's still out. Obviously, they've only played one game. Their next game against Saudi Arabia. So again, another game you'd expect to win, but another game of a team that's going to sit in a low block and frustrate them. And Saudi Arabia kind of already showed you how they're going to play against Uruguay. Like they're going to try to hit you on the break. And very similar, I think Uruguay struggled to create clear-cut chances, and they are missing a really elite goal scorer. They don't have a Cavani, a Forlan, a Suarez, and they were getting punished on the break. That could happen to this Spain side easily.
If anything, they'll have a tougher time against Saudi Arabia because they'll have better options on the break than Cabo Verde did, because we saw them do it against Argentina, and like you said, you saw them do it against Uruguay. So it's still one game. Like I'm not going to jump to any conclusions with any of these teams.
But we're talking about disappointing teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it. We'll talk about Brazil. They looked super flat. I mean, like super flat.
Especially the first half. Yeah.
I think the first half. Yeah. In the second half, I think the changes that Carlo made did inject some life. I do think that there's a team there that could maybe grow into this tournament. I mean, the benefit of a 7-game World Cup, which is what this becomes, because it's 3 games in the group stage, then round of the 32, 16, quarters, semis, and finals. So it's like it's a long World Cup, right? Like it's comparable to the Champions League, like in the knockout phase, right? So it's going to be a lot, and this will ultimately come down to teams that hold up the best, not just in the weather, which did play a factor in some of the ways that I felt like these European teams played, but also in just like the mentality of these teams to grow into the tournament. But Casemiro, man, he looked, oh my God, awful. His legs were just not there, man. And then they brought in Fabinho, and I was like, this is worse. This is somehow worse. So they're going to have to figure some stuff out. Paqueta looked awful too, like lost, just like not.
Why did he start? Why?
I mean, he can't start again. Like, I think you have to play Cunha there. Like, I don't see. And then
1,000%.
Thiago, I understand his role. I do think, like, people were criticizing how slow and plodding he looked, but ultimately they just want him in the box to mix things up and get on the end of chances. The problem was Vinny created a couple good chances for him. One of them that he should have been right there. Like if he just glances the ball, it's a goal. And he didn't, right? And it's the kind of Haaland conundrum we've talked about. And obviously Haaland he had a great first game, but this conundrum of when you have a goal scorer who's obviously elite at goal scoring, but they're not offering anything else. If they don't do the goal scoring, it's like, well, what is your value here? And it's in those situations where it's like, Richarlison is a really limited player, but I'll give Richarlison a lot of credit that he always fights. He's crazy at pressing, and he's like a shit disturber. So he mixes in with the center backs. He doesn't shy away from the physicality of the game. It felt like Brazil could have used a player like that in that game. Ultimately, though, they got a draw against the African Cup champions, depending on who you ask. They got a draw. There are definitely worse results, but it definitely didn't make me feel good about my pick.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good with my pick either. We'll get to them. I got a lot to say about Portugal. I'll start with the good. Vinny Jr., if you have anything bad to say about him, shut the fuck up and do not talk to me ever again. If this guy wasn't on Brazil, what would they be doing? Because
he was doing everything.
And I do not want to hear anything that Rafinha is in his realm or anything like that. No. Rafinha was asked to do things in the first half that he shouldn't have. In the second half, Carlo got the tactics better and figured it out. But I don't want to hear anything about Rafinha is as good or better. Shut up. No, we're not going there. You're wrong. That's it. I'm just going to leave it at that. And if you don't believe me, just watch the goal and just watch the game. Any of the chances came
Rafinha
basically
was a passenger.
Exactly. He was a passenger. The other good reason that I think they can likely do well, I don't necessarily think they'll win. I hope they do well just for, football's sake. Carlo Ancelotti. First half, he got tactics wrong. Second half, Ruben sent me a video. I believe I saw that one even before he sent me. I watched it again.
The guy
figured it out.
What he changed.
Yeah, he figured out what was wrong with the wing backs, with the full backs, and how they're being pressed. And then he's changed the formation. He figured it out. I don't agree with all of Carlo's selections for this team, and it showed with the subs and who came on and who started. But I believe in Carlo, and I think he can figure things out. Now to the bad, there's a lot. Igor Thiago, like we said, you have to know what you expect from him. He's a tall poacher in the box. At the same time, his goal record this season is a bit inflated with penalties. That's understandable. But regardless of, him not getting onto a couple balls from Vinny, I think he was terrible in link up. He couldn't match like two passes together. Everybody has an off day. Maybe that was just for him. Maybe it was just the World Cup and getting to him. But I think you have to start Endrick in the next game just to get a different look, at least. I think Endrick is a better player, and he will obviously have better potential going forward. But I just think he offers so much more in that front line, especially with the likes of Rafinha and Vinny on the left and right. Like you said, Casemiro. Wow, he's really, really struggled in that team. I have to give credit to Morocco. I do think after a point they kind of fell they kind of decreased the amount of pressure and their hype died down. But Buati specifically,
he's playing himself into a big move. He
absolutely
looked incredible.
Yeah. I already saw it. I already saw all the stuff this team, that team wants him. He was all over Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes, and they could not handle anything. They couldn't string two passes together. That was really, really rough for them. The other part is the fullbacks. I mentioned to Ruben, the fall off needs to be studied from the likes of Cafu and Roberto Carlos to Marcelo and Dani Alves, and now we have Douglas Santos and who was starting on the right.
It wasn't Danilo.
Ibanez.
Came on. Ibanez, yeah.
They're not fullbacks. Douglas Santos is kind of a fullback, but he plays on Zenit. This is where I'm questioning Carlo Ancelotti's choices. There's a player, Dodo. I forgot which team he plays on, but he's a pacey young fullback. He could have likely done a job on the left side better for anybody who started. There's a player on Inter Milan as well, whose name
I think the Brazil team kind of exemplifies a little bit of what we talked about heading into the tournament, that even your friend said that they've kind of lost their identity. Yeah. And I mean, beyond even the identity thing, I think they just look like a team that don't play with each other ever. Like, it doesn't look like these players understand each other. And then obviously we're going to eventually get to the teams that really impressed us. The teams that really impressed us, I felt like, oh, you guys understand each other. You're making the runs for each other. You're linking up well for each other. And weirdly, like, yeah, I thought Spain looked like a team that never played together. Maybe that's just because certain players were played out of position, but it looked really like labored and herky jerky. And a lot of this Brazil game was like, like if Vini doesn't create that goal out of nowhere and basically kind of
they lose.
It felt like Morocco was all out attack, and then that goal happens, and they kind of remembered like, okay, this is still Brazil. They have a super talented player here. Like there are players in the attack that could hurt us. Maybe we just try to draw this out, like. Because if we defend, they're not going to be able to break us down, and that was what ended up happening. Like the game was like the sting was taken out of the game, and then it became kind of just like, all right, we're going to get a draw here, and like maybe a team will get a couple chances here or there.
Yeah, the player I was referring to from Inter was Luis Enrique. Like obviously he didn't have the best season, but again, I absolutely think that at least with him and Dodo, they're actual fullbacks who offer pace and it can actually support your wingers with Vini and Rafinha.
It's crazy because they gave Carlo a big contract, and I already think like the fact that he took Neymar. I know there was a lot of public pressure, but I wonder if Neymar, because he's not playing in their next game. It's already he's not playing today. Today is the next game. It's already been announced that like he's not even traveling with the team. He's staying in New Jersey, where they're just to try to rehab even quicker. If he doesn't come back at all, then you just burn the spot. Just burn the spot.
Exactly.
Just for vibes. And like that's not.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be terrible if there weren't clearly other players on the team already there
who are issue.
Veterans and vibe type players. Like that's what Casemiro can be. That's what Marquinhos should be. Someone like Alisson who's been around for a while. Like you don't need another guy who's just kind of a remnant from an older generation. Like you just don't, I think.
Yeah, I pushed back. So I was speaking to my Brazilian friend about the game, and basically to summarize his points, he was saying that he thinks that obviously Brazil have lost their identity. He thinks that Carlo doesn't understand Brazilian culture, specifically in football in their league. He thinks that a lot of Brazilian players from the Brazilian league should have been on this team. My counterpoint was that then how good is the level of competition of the Brazilian league in comparison to players who play in Europe? Because there was a couple players who came on and they didn't look great either. I think Danilo Santos was one of them. He really did not look. He looked pretty awful from what I saw. In the midfield. But again, I give credit to Morocco for what they did in the midfield. They really bossed that game for a portion of it. Their fullbacks Hakimi and Mazraoui, they were really, really causing a lot of issues for Brazil on the right and left back center backs who were playing there as quote unquote fullbacks. But yeah, I really think Brazil has problems linking attack to defense. And, Casemiro is not that type of player. Neither is Bruno Guimaraes. That's why you need maybe somebody like Matheus Cunha who can kind of do it. Neymar, is he fit? Is he not? We'll see. How good is he actually going to play? But, you're putting a guy who's been perennially injured into a position and putting a lot on his shoulders. Listen, again, it's the first game. They got to draw. A point is better than a loss, but I think this whole team needs to be like rejigged. I think Endrick needs to start. I think, what was his name? Ederson. Anderson, I think is the guy I'm thinking about. He came on. The guy was on Atalanta. He signed.
I think it's Anderson.
No, it is Ederson. There's like 4 Edersons on this team. But yeah, like they lost Wesley, and that was a really big key for me in the right back position because he had a really good season for Roma, and I would have expected that they would have brought up Luis Enrique, but now they brought on Ederson, who had a good season at Atalanta. Apparently, he can play on the right, kind of like Camavinga played on the left, and a versatile midfielder. I don't know. Carlo has to figure something out. Maybe you go to a 3-back. Can this team really play with all the center backs they have? I don't know, but yeah, you have to start Cunha, you have to start Endrick. Somebody else needs to start. Probably for Casemiro as well. You got to put this team in the best positions to win, and you really have to take advantage of Vinny and Endrick and Cunha and Rafinha. So there's going to be a lot on them because I really think they missed that link from midfield to attacks. But I trust in Carlo. I think he'll get it right going forward. It's going to be tough though for them.
Yeah, it's definitely let's wait and see how this plays out because. The early return was not great. Well, let's talk about your pick. to make it to the finals.
Can we not? Can I just
Portugal? I think they're one of the last, I would say, truly disappointing teams that we'd have to mention. I'm looking quickly.
Maybe Netherlands, but that was a good game.
Netherlands was the other one.
It was a good game. Yeah. Japan's a good team.
Yeah, but the Netherlands, even Croatia, I guess, but maybe they'll be honorable mentions.
Yeah,
Switzerland could have been a nomination there, but obviously we know now their second game went completely different to their first game. They got held in their first game by Qatar, and then both those teams kind of had a role reversal in the next game. Bosnia could not keep, and to be fair, I think Bosnia did play well in the second game. That scoreline is a bit inflated by a red card and some harshness and blah blah blah. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Switzerland have avoided being a disappointment because they played their second game, and I'm no longer disappointed. They're doing what they're supposed to do. So Portugal, obviously, if you've seen the memes or any conversation about this World Cup so far, the DR Congo held them 1-1. A lot of the talk will obviously fall down on Cristiano and whether his inclusion to the squad is still helping, whether it's good. There was a lot of lowlights from a lot of players. I think Rafael Leao definitely didn't cover himself in glory. Roberto Martinez is being questioned openly a lot already. Yeah, I'll let you go because obviously they were a pick of a team you had, and we've spoken a lot about the talent that this team has. So what did you see?
Yeah, it was frustrating because obviously, Argentina played the day before. Messi did incredibly well. Scored a hat trick. Should have had a red card. It is what it is. They're not going to give it to anybody. You could shoot the fucking mayor of New York City and they'd be like, oh, whatever, it's Messi. But yeah. Okay, I'll first start with Ronaldo. Again, I'm a Ronaldo fan. I've established that. He's my GOAT. I'm not disputing that Messi has had a better career, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, I need to put up a banner every time I say this, that yes, Messi had the better career. It's like when Stephen A. Smith talks about like fucking LeBron. He's like, I need the philanthropist, great father, et cetera. Yeah.
The great father always gets him.
Yeah.
Great father always gets him.
He didn't have a good game. Not at all. He did not have a good game. Stop expecting for Ronaldo to do what Messi does. First of all, he's 3 years older than him. Second of all, he's a completely different player. Ronaldo has not been that dribbling, pacey left winger from probably 2016, 17 onward. Definitely 2018. Even when he played under Mourinho, I know for a fact that stories came out that Mourinho told him, listen, you're an amazing player who scores 30 goals, whatever, something like that on the wing. If you move more into a central role from the left, you'll score 50 goals, 60 goals a season. It'll elongate your career. And it did. He probably has to give at least 5-10 years of his career for that advice that Mourinho gave him. Yeah, he's a poacher in the box who feeds off of service. Again, he did not have a good game. He had maybe 2 or 3 good chances. I don't think either of them were really that great. They were probably half chances. I still expect him to do better to the level that I can consider Ronaldo, but it wasn't great. But this bullshit narrative, I'm sorry to get so heated, but this bullshit narrative that Ronaldo is holding this team hostage and the team doesn't, they're surrounded by just fixating on him. What? Did you watch the game? Genuinely, did you watch the game? Nobody had a good game. There was 0 players who had a good game. Just look at the passing map for Portugal. I'll put it up in the editing. They just went horizontal. There was 0 vertical passing. Nothing was being made to pass it vertical and find any through balls. Bruno Fernandes did nothing. Absolutely nothing. He should be the focal point of this team, not Ronaldo. Ronaldo should be supplementing Bruno Fernandes. He wasn't great. Shayan Neves scored a goal. Credit to him. Up to that point, the 20, 30 minutes in, they were playing well. I thought it looked great, but they weren't good. The wingers. I put this on Roberto Martinez. Genuinely, there was no plan. I have no idea what the fuck this guy's plan was and what the hell he was thinking going to this game. Bernardo Silva should not be starting, especially as a winger who plays an inside forward who drifts into the midfield. This guy needs to come on the bench. You can see that the amount of minutes that he's played for Man City has affected him. That's making me question his role at Real Madrid when he comes in. We'll obviously get to that in another episode. But he should absolutely not be starting. And why was Pedro Neto on the left and not on the right when his natural position is on the right? None of that made sense to me at all. Conceição is not a bad player, but he is levels below world-class player. But when he came in, he offered so much more to this team. Why didn't he start? I don't get it. This team has an issue, and I kind of predicted it, or not predicted, but I kind of saw it coming before the World Cup started. They're not very tall. Outside from Ronaldo and the two center backs, they don't really have players who are like really above 6 feet. And I get it. João Palhinha had a really poor season with Tottenham. No, yeah, I think yeah, but I think is a player that they should have called up because obviously his defensive midfield capabilities and his height that he offers. You can't ask only three players to be capable on set pieces and corners to defend. That's basically what happened. It was, a set piece, or it was a ball into the box off a header, and then Congo scored. That is a problem for Portugal. What's his name? Ruben Diaz. People have questioned him, in his form for Portugal. My God, do they need him? Because I wasn't impressed with either center back, Araujo or Vega. They were both really, really pedestrian. It didn't look good. Nothing looked good. But this narrative that, Ronaldo is holding this team hostage. Ronaldo is the be all and end all of this team. Ronaldo is the corruption of this team, and he's the reason the team didn't play well. You could have put Gerd Muller there, and if you give him zero service, what do you expect to happen? If you don't have a plan, if you don't realize that you don't have good wingers, Rafael Leao, just like you mentioned, didn't do anything good either when he came on. Your wingers need to be your fullbacks. Nuno Mendes and João Cancelo need to be the wingers, and whoever plays in wing needs to cut inside and support them. Why didn't Martinez figure this out? Why didn't he do this? Roberto Martinez is going to be like a huge factor in this team of whether he gets the right, and if they do well, and if he doesn't get it right, they're going to do poorly. They got a draw. It's not the end of the world. There's still a lot of games to play. We'll see how they go going forward. I don't dispute that maybe Ronaldo should come off the bench. But again, if you're going to tell me that Gonzalo Ramos or Gonzalo Guedes is going to be a world beater, I haven't seen it. I'll hold judgment till I see it. But can we please stop scapegoating Ronaldo? Because I'll get it. He's arrogant. He's this, he's that. He wants to score. He throws his hands up and blah, blah, blah. He can be annoying and the team kind of looks better when he's not there. But can we stop acting as if this guy does what Messi does and should do what Messi does for Portugal, and that when the whole team does horribly, it's all his fault? I'll end on there.
No, I mean, I think the Cristiano Ronaldo agenda, is the only really way to say it, is a bit overblown in terms of like people putting this all on his shoulders. I'm in group chats, and again, like Shayan is the Cristiano guy, and I think people sometimes think I am, because I do defend him when I see some of this like more extreme stuff go on. But he's not one of my favorite players, and I do think that like there are arguments to be made about what his role should be on this team in terms of like should he start, when should he be deployed. I do think there were some moments where he could have made a run more as like a decoy. He could have vacated some space, and he obviously doesn't want to do that because he wants to be in the middle when the ball gets played through and he wants to score. There is a bit of selfishness and ego there that's inherent to the kind of player that he is. Am I going to hammer him for that? Like, no, like I do, because my question to anybody when they say like, well, Cristiano holding this team hostage, like, but where's this other great striker that's played? Like, where is the replacement? Because Gonzalo Ramos's development has stagnated. He basically does not play at PSG, and he's not going to play. They're going to move him. Like, if he's going to play anywhere, it's not going to be at PSG. Next year, he's probably like the sixth choice attacker. And when he came on, he didn't do much. I think, honestly, Joao Felix is a player that should get a look in, kind of playing a second striker off of Cristiano. They play together at the club side. They understand each other a bit more. I think you can make an argument that they could unlock each other. Or even just, Felix is kind of like a false nine. He does have a bit more creativity. There's a little interplay that him and Bruno can do. I think that it's going to require Martinez to be creative and attacking in a way that I don't think we've ever seen him be. So
aside from like that Belgium team in 2018, but they were also so good. Like
it's like it's not hard to be creative and attacking offensively when you have Kevin De Bruyne and
Hazard.
Eden Hazard is still there,
and Lukaku, Dries Mertens, so many.
Like, they're kind of going to do it on your behalf, even if you don't tell them to. They're going to do it. So yeah, I think that the Cristiano hate train is a bit much. It obviously doesn't help that Messi had the game that he did. Let me tell you something. I wasn't moved by the Argentina game. Call me a hater, but I wasn't. Like, all right, you beat Algeria, and there were times that they didn't look great either in that game. I think they were just playing an opponent that was clearly inferior. And if people want to say that, well, Portugal could have done that to the DR Congo, absolutely. I'm not saying Portugal had a good game either. I'm not.
But also, Congo played much better than Algeria did,
100%.
and also their goalkeeper knew how to be a goalkeeper and not just flap his arms around. There's the first goal. It's harsh. The first goal, I think he should do better. I'm critical on keepers. The second goal, 1,000%. What the fuck are you doing?
There's a couple bad ones.
Like Zidane wanted to disown this guy, like with one of the shots they put on him.
But yeah, so. We'll see. I think the Cristiano narrative is going to be hanging over his head. Obviously, he's at this World Cup, and Martinez is going to have to figure something out. It definitely wasn't great first returns, but I think Shayan's had a lot of it. I'm obviously I'm trying to take the middle road because that's what I believe is true. Like, I don't think this is all Cristiano Ronaldo's fault. This idea that he's the full reason is a bit extreme. Do I think the character and the narrative of Cristiano Ronaldo has held this Portugal team in stasis pretty much since they won the Euros? Yeah, I do. I think that a lot of things have been. That, I think a lot of things have been kept in stasis, and there's been less of a need or an impetus to develop a number 9 behind him because, again, like, he wants to get to 1,000 goals. And how do you get to 1,000 goals? You're playing every game in the friendlies. You're playing Nations League. He doesn't take a break. And that's going to affect the development of players like Joao Felix and Gonzalo Ramos and whoever else. So there is, it's kind of the thing that happens in England with Harry Kane. Like, they don't have a number 9 behind him who you're like, that's an elite number 9. Ollie Watkins is really good. But they even brought back what's his face who was playing Ivan Toney. And like, he's not a world beater, but like, who is the number 9 that you're like, oh, they're just as good as Harry Kane? They don't have one. They have number 9s that have holes in their game. So you get that because one guy is just taking up the oxygen and is filling the room and not letting other people come along, and that is what's happening there. But
yeah, like, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on Portugal because there's obviously more stuff we need to cover. But I'll say this: listen, yeah, absolutely, Ronaldo probably has taken time from Gonzalo Ramos, Gonzalo Guedes, and Joao Felix. But again, and yeah, in the few games that they didn't start him, like in the previous World Cup, the core of Portugal looked more cohesive. But I didn't see any world-beating performances from any of these other guys. So you have a guy who can do it and is Ronaldo and is that type of player, or at least was and can be. Or you have guys who are just, you know, kind of mid and put mid performances in. So like, don't tell me that there's some next Harry Kane or like there's like an Endrick, for example, with a great player with potential on this team.
Yeah, I think Gonzalo would have been the one based off of the World Cup where he scored the hat trick when he benched Ronaldo. But that's, I mean, that's maybe that's 4 years ago now, and his development at PSG has stalled. Like, it has stalled. God. And like, I don't know.
I'll end off on this. I think Portugal needs to play a 3-back or 5-back system, whatever you like. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I think they should play 3 center backs, like Diaz, Vega, and Araujo, or Inacio, whoever you like. So they add more height into the team. I think because they don't have good wingers, and they really haven't had a good winger since Nani, which is insane. Semedo and Cancelo need to be the wingers, and then obviously the midfield stays the same. And I think you have a Joao Felix or a Rafael Leao or Guedes, whoever it is, likely a Felix, next to Ronaldo playing as a 2 up top. Do you think that would work better, like that type of system?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Silva looked really bad. So how much are you going to keep him out there on the wing and just let him figure it out?
No, I would take him out. I'd put like
So that's what I'm understanding what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I'm comparing it to the wing that they had.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I think it's worth a try because again, I think you really want to empower the midfielders and get someone near Ronaldo who's going to help him and set him up and kind of again do some of the dummy runs and stuff that he's not going to do. And Joao Felix not only would be willing to do it, I think he can do it at a high level. And if you get the ball to Joao Felix, I think he's again, I know his development is weird and the thing at Atleti, and then he went to Chelsea and all this stuff, but I think there's a player there. I'm not 100% gonna write him off. I think he can do something. So yeah, I think it's worth a shot. I don't know if Martinez is gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. He doesn't seem like the type to.
Him and Ancelotti have work to do, and we'll see which one gets it right first. But I'm pretty sure he played a 3-back system with Belgium at least at one point.
I think
could be wrong.
So, all right, we'll move on to teams that did better than we expected. But
the fun stuff.
I just want to give, like I mentioned them as honorable mentions. I think the Netherlands looked really poor. They kind of proved they're not going to do shit.
Boring
Ronald
game.
Koeman,
I have to say
Ronald Koeman is a terrorist. Like I think all of his changes. I think all of his changes were wrong. Every single one. Like I don't care because I don't like the Netherlands, but what a horrible.
Emphasizes my Dutch coach's point. Remember about like fucking Arne Slot and how they're apparently dicks. Wow, a
terrorist.
Japan were fun to watch. Netherlands was not. Like they put me to sleep. Holy shit! Shout out to the Blue Samurai.
Absolutely. The other one. Uruguay did not look good. Marcelo Bielsa has got stuff to figure out. Obviously, I think Saudi Arabia were good value. They hit them on the break well. They did all right. But Uruguay would have expected more given their pedigree and their manager. Those two are the honorable mentions that I wanted to mention. Oh, and Croatia, just for the simple fact of like, it's over, guys. Like, clap them up. Yeah. I know this is the World Cup, and to be fair, they battled back to draw twice. But there were times in this game where they looked so slow, and then
they could not keep up with the pace.
When they swapped out Modric for Kovacic, I'm like, we're done. We're done. We're done.
We just got guys out there. Like
we're just putting dudes out. Like it's just like holy fuck.
So what do you got, bro? Come on, you show me. What do you got? Do something. Who's next?
So rip, but I'll use that as a jumping off point. One team. We both picked them as a finalist. I think they showed why in that game. England 4-2 against Croatia. They looked great. And hey, for all the haters out there criticizing Thomas Tuchel's selection, I think even in the first half, when the game was still kind of like in the balance, you saw why Noni Madueke was the choice. You see why, and again, I'll get on my soapbox. Stop comparing these fucking human beings to a god. Jude Bellingham is your fucking leader and your savior. Like this idea that there's even a fucking question. Oh, should Jude Bellingham start? What the like? But I don't like how he looks in the Twitter comps compared to the Pedri. Shut the fuck up, man. Are you seeing this guy? This is like World Cup games. He's just turning out masterful performances. When he had a move in the midfield where he like plays the ball at his feet, turns around.
Tuchel lost his mind.
Holy fuck, bro. He brings on Morgan Rogers. He doesn't take off Jude Bellingham. Why? Because he knows Jude's got that sauce.
He's an idiot.
Jude takes the goal really well. He was defending, pressing, doing a lot of tackling and interventions. Like anytime England lost the ball, he was one of the first ones there to kind of put pressure on it, get it back. A phenomenal game. And it works so well with Kane because Kane loves to drop deep, and that's why you need Madueke, and you need the athletes on either side of him because he's going to pass. And like you saw, like, again, Noni Madueke, very limited player, but he got a lot of opportunities. Why? Because Kane would drop deep and then he would just run and he would play the pass. Gordon,
he did what he was supposed to. Like, I didn't think he had a bad game.
No.
He didn't pull up trees, but like,
he's just a limited player. Like he's one of those players. I get like he knows what he's going to do before he even gets the ball, and that's to his detriment sometimes because when that option gets taken away from him, he's not very quick to like understand he could do something else. But anyways, it doesn't matter. He did really well with what he was supposed to do. Gordon kind of had an up and down game, but again, he's an athlete. He was making those runs. And you saw it. Kane would drop deep, and he would want to play these passes. And then so Jude Bellingham would take his place in the middle, still be a reference point, still be dangerous. He was almost on the end of a lot of chances. He created a lot of chances through passing. He had a couple of lovely balls that he played through out to the wings. And then, you bring on Rashford, who, again, I have my own opinion of, and I don't think the year he had was great. But you bring on Rashford against a tired Croatia team that was already looking
they couldn't keep up with the pace anymore.
Rashford,
they were cooked.
Rashford gets the ball, has an ocean of time. Like a fucking he could have sat down,
made an English breakfast.
He made an English breakfast and then gone back, and he scores his goal. Kane obviously bags too. they were firing. This is this team, if they can continue to build on this level and this thing, they look dangerous. I think Declan Rice and Anderson showed why they should be at the base of that. And again, you don't really need you have the creativity there with Bellingham and Kane. Just put athletes around them and you're going to be fine. It looked really good. Obviously, this defense gave up some stuff. I do think the defense is really shaky. And when Croatia got their goals, you saw why. They had lovely passages of play. There was a lovely shot. It was really good. But, I don't know. The one criticism you can give England is their first goal obviously comes from a bit of luck. Luka Modric, just a bad foul. Not something you would expect to see from a vet, and then they get lucky that I don't know if that was an infringement.
From the angles I saw, it looked pretty clear, but
I was watching it live somewhere, and
live it didn't look like it, but then the post game ones I saw, I didn't see an inch, but it is it's the rule, right? But it's lucky, it's lucky, but it happens. You take those,
But ultimately, I felt really good about the performance, and. Yeah, I didn't pick them to win, but if I had, I would feel really good about
it. I think you nailed every point. I'll start with with the bad. Guehi seems to have some sort of knock, and that's why he didn't start. I think he should start ahead of Stones. Stones looks not great, I think with Guehi they'll be more secure. I don't anticipate them not to concede goals or anything. I have some world-beating defense. I just think they'll be able to outscore teams and outpace them and outmuscle them with the players that they have. Aside from that, Rice apparently came off with a knock. I haven't really heard anything serious. Hopefully it's not. You don't really have a like-for-like replacement. Kobe Mainoo would probably be the one who slots into midfield there. He's a good player, had a really good season at United, and I think he can really do a good job for this England team, but Rice would obviously be a huge loss. Hopefully not. But on to the good. You 1,000%, everything you said about Jude Bellingham is 1,000% correct. I saw it on another reel I was watching the other day. This England fan said it very correctly. He said Tuchel hasn't fallen victim of the same trends that they did when they had Lampard, Gerrard, and Scholes, and for example when they had with Gareth Southgate and Foden and Palmer and whoever else. You don't have to bring every single best player in every single position. You have to bring the best player for the squad. On form, you could argue that, Palmer and Bellingham probably had an equal season. But for what Bellingham does for England, he offers so much more, and he offers so much with Harry Kane, especially as he runs into the box. You saw it as well with him Tuchel starting Madueke. He didn't fall victim to just start the best player because they're there. Obviously, Saka has, some...
He's coming back from an injury as well.
He's coming back from an injury. He's getting up to pace, and he's played a lot of minutes. Yeah, but Madueke did a job. Did he pull up trees like I said earlier? No, but he did what he was supposed to do. But Tuchel really seems to have found the best 11 and the best squad for this team. And he realizes that, a player like Bellingham, who, again, no disrespect to Cole Palmer. My friend was asking, why didn't Cole Palmer get into this team? I like Cole Palmer from what I've seen from Chelsea. I'm like, yeah, he's a great player. His first season was amazing. Second season hasn't done great. But I'm like, realistically, Bellingham is better. Morgan Rogers was better. So, and they fit better into this team next to the likes of Harry Kane, especially when you need a person to run in behind him over the box. For God's sakes, at a point, Harry Kane was picking up balls around the defense. I think he needs to stop doing that because the bigger teams will just be like, okay, we know what you're doing if you're going that deep. And I
do think there's a worry for that because that's kind of what happened against PSG, where PSG was fine with him dropping deep and they kind of cut off his options. They were like, okay, well, we're just going to not let you do anything.
Yeah, exactly. So that needs to kind of stop. But, what's his name? Anthony Gordon, he was pretty good for what he was supposed to do. And like you mentioned, Rashford, he had plenty of time. Obviously, this was a tired Croatia team. They couldn't keep up with the defense, with the pace, and defense really struggled. But they look really good. Everybody looks really good in this team. Obviously, the defense is shaky. The goalkeeper is a little bit shaky. But I really think unlike Gareth Southgate, who was such a negative and a scared manager with this team, I really think Tuchel is going to take this team forward because he's going to enable the likes of Kane, Rodgers, Bellingham, Saka, Rashford, etc., and that's going to really propel them forward. It was an amazing performance, but it was a good one, and it's a good start, and 3 points is 3 points.
I agree. You can name a team that impressed you. I think there's an obvious one that we haven't named, actually.
Yeah, Germany, obviously. Yeah. I'm not my brother's a Germany fan. I'm not, but I just really like this jersey, and Toni Kroos is one of my favorite players. Wow. I thought they would do well. I did not expect this. Listen, it's Curacao.
It's Curacao. It's the obvious caveat.
I feel bad because they scored the equalizer and they were going crazy. And then they just got absolutely ran through. But, for analyzing just the performance for what it is, everybody looked great. And I think teams that have really good wing backs or fullbacks who play up front are really going to do well in this team. Kimmich and Brown were immense for Germany, specifically Brown. Like, he was really, really good. But another player who in the midfield who I didn't expect to be that good, in Nemecha, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, he scored the goal. He was unbelievable, like absolutely unbelievable. The whole team looked great. Pavlovic looked great. Actually, no, Sané was terrible. Sané was really bad. I don't know what Sané does in this team. Like, Sané seems to have really fallen off ever since he left Manchester City. But Kai Havertz, really surprised with how good he was. Like, again, he's giving me like Mario Gomez vibes when they won the World Cup around that time. Just a tall, in the box kind of poacher who can hold up play and link well defense. Florian Wirtz looked good. Jamal Musiala, he was also good as well. I do think, believe it or not, I'm not trying to overblow this, I do think they're not happy with giving up that one goal. And I think that shows that they can be breaking apart, especially on a counterattack.
I agree.
Rudiger, did Rudiger start? No, Ta started. Ta and Schlotterbeck, again, similar to the England defense with Gehi and Konsa. They're not some world beater pairing. It's not like Mats Hummels and like Per Mertesacker or whatever. Like, this is not like some insane defensive pairing. I like Schlotterbeck. I like Schlotterbeck more than Ta, but again, I'm not going to say that he's like, the next Beckenbauer coming out of Germany. But yeah, I'm really excited to watch their next game. Everybody basically, aside from Sané, really impressed me. I'm excited to see this team going forward. I didn't pick them to win, but I thought they'd do well. I was surprised with how many people actually didn't have them higher up. It seems like they've kind of gone back to the way Germany should play with their national team. I remember watching an interview with Schweinsteiger, and again, thanks to Pep Guardiola, quote unquote, best coach of all time, he was saying that when Guardiola was in the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich, he's like, it had a trickle down effect that everybody, and especially the national team, felt that they had to play that similar style of football that Guardiola was playing with Bayern. And obviously you saw it didn't work, and it didn't work very, very poorly. So they seem to have gone back to, direct, efficient, pacey, strong German football. It's not always the most fun to watch. That game was. But yeah, shout out to Curacao. You got one goal against one of the best teams in the world. You had a tie for about 5 minutes, and then it went away.
I do think, and I was obviously hanging out with my Scottish friend and some of his friends who were here, and I think they made the good point that sometimes you can be a bit patronizing, and people are because he said he went to the Euros and he watched Germany's Scotland game. And he said some of the German fans could be, we're sorry, you guys are really nice, we shouldn't have scored so much, blah blah. And it's at the end of the day, I promise you, man, those Curacao fans who were there, they don't care. There was 5 minutes where they got, or however long it was, where they got to be tied with Germany, a country that's so far ahead of them in the FIFA rankings, at the World Cup, a place where some of them never thought they'd go, and they got to just live in that moment, and that moment means more to them than anything. The 7 goals, it ended up being a bit of a training match for Germany, but they won't care. They're gonna leave. They got to see their country's first World Cup goal.
Yeah,
that's special. That's special no matter how you draw it up. So
you take those.
Kudos to them. Germany looked good. It is just Curacao. I think that they're definitely we'll have to see. I don't know what their next game is. I'd have to check. I don't know if it's top. They play the Ivory Coast
in Toronto,
who also had a decent game.
That was a great game. Ecuador, Ivory Coast.
Yeah, great game. Ecuador got really unlucky. I wouldn't say I left impressed with any team off that. They both kind of played the way I expected. It was a very hard fought game. It was evenly matched, and it could have gone the other way. Honestly, the person I was the most impressed with actually was the Ivory Coast player Diomade. He's great, and there's already tons of talk about him getting a move somewhere, so that tells you how quickly people move. But RB Leipzig apparently want over 100 mil for him, so we'll see how that goes.
Nice. Good luck with that.
Yeah, who's another team? Easy one.
France or
I was gonna say France or Norway. France, Norway, and Sweden are the other three ones that seem obvious. But you know what? Let's go with France. Let's go with France, especially since at the beginning of the game, I didn't find myself very impressed. They kind of were laboring.
The first half was not good.
They were kind of laboring, and I do think they're running into a problem. Dembele is a Ballon d'Or winner, but him and Mbappe don't play well together. The second they swapped him out and they put in Barcola, the team opened up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's because Mbappe and Dembele both want the same thing. They want to be the guy.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that Olise is funny, man. He's got a nonchalant gimmick, which kind of irks me. But the reason that it works is because I genuinely think he doesn't give a fuck. So he's just out there and he's doing his thing. Because he's a baller. And Barkel is a baller. But I think they're both so young that they're like, we can outlast this Mbappe era. Like, what? This is his last World Cup where he'll probably be like the biggest player on the team.
Probably, you think so?
4 more years of Olise, if he goes the way that he looked this year, if he keeps building on that, Olise is going to be the biggest player on the French team by the time the next one comes up.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Mbappe will be on the wrong side of 30 by that point.
Yeah. I think Olise answered the question for me of who's going to be the link from the mid to the attack. Previously, it was Griezmann, who basically was like a number 8. Olise was that because like any time that Mbappe made a run, this guy found him. And if Mbappe wasn't so ass in the first half with the touches, it would have been like 3-0, within like
Mbappe
40 minutes.
It's so funny because my one friend Jake, who's the Spurs fan, who cheers for France, he's like Mbappe with like heavy touches early. I was like, yeah, he's in Real Madrid form. That's what he does for us all the time. Fucking heavy ass touches
all the time. Yeah. But yeah, Olise was immense, and he is that guy who's going to link the midfield to defend, to attack. His passes are unbelievable, and his trajectory just has been insane. I don't think you made any points that I disagree with. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Dembele and Mbappe. Do you drop one? Maybe play Cherki instead in that kind of number 10 role. He's very lazy, but obviously I know what he offers going forward. The first half wasn't great. But yeah, like they definitely look like a team that can win the World Cup. I'll end on a funny note. My cousins live in Belgium. Obviously, different European countries have conquered different areas of Africa. Belgium, famously, Congo was what do you call it? A colony of Belgium. And my cousin was like, this is like France versus France 2. As in like, and then at one point in the game, the commentator was like, they show a shot of Robert Pires and Patrick Vieira and like France legends. And then he was like, this basically epitomizes this game because Patrick Vieira is of Senegalese descent. So,
yeah.
A little bit of a race joke there. It is what it is.
I agree with everything you said. I don't think we've seen France put to a real test. Senegal, African champions as they may be, didn't really offer too much, but they made it difficult for France. And I mean, they could have easily nicked this game one way or another on a different day. But yeah, France has some things to answer. Deschamps got some things he's going to have to work out. Where do you want to go next?
Do you want to talk like, Norway or Sweden? Or I mean, those were kind of like obvious. Or did you want to talk about Canada and getting their first win?
We'll do Norway and Sweden very quick because I do think those games were against opposition that they probably would be expected to beat, right?
Yeah,
Iraq and thing. Norway and Sweden. My simple summary of the Norway game is Erling Haaland is a freak. Like, he's just a machine. Like, I don't know. Like, he
scored a lot of good goals. Yeah, they were nice.
He was just running at the Iraqis, and I don't think that they knew what the fuck to do because he's a giant human.
Yeah. Listen, sorry to interrupt, but like the internet needs to stop. Like sometimes I saw a meme. It was like basically like the U.S. when they invaded the Gulf, and then it was like fucking Holland as like the one of the fighter ships, and they're just hitting there, and I'm like, y'all need to chill. The memes need to settle down.
They smashed them, and great start for Holland, and I'm sure a lot of people picked him to be the top goal scorer. I think you saw a lot about Norway's win condition there.
Yeah.
Iraq did score, though. I do think there's some genuine questions to be asked about how Norway will hold up under pressure that's a bit more consistent than Iraq can provide. But, first start, pretty good. And for Sweden, kudos to fucking, what's his name? Graham Potter, who got bombed out of Chelsea. They looked nice. They looked good. Like, it's just Tunisia, but like, fucking Gyökeres, I think it's huge that Isak got on the score sheet and looked okay. Again, Tunisia's not going to offer a ton.
They fired their coach.
They fired their coach, which tells you how they feel the game went.
If there ever was a knee-jerk reaction, like, I don't think I've ever seen that ever. Like, it wasn't the same, but I remember when like Lopetegui in that whole Spain situation, and then Hierro comes in
like before
they started. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Yeah.
I mean, that's all I have to say about that. Both of those teams, I think, the Nordic teams did very well. They showed that they have clinical goal scorers and like are capable of creating some good stuff. Obviously, they played opposition that's a bit weaker, so. Take it with a caveat, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I don't know why I kind of feel like Sweden attracted me a little bit more, just from their overall play. It seems like they could be a dark horse in this team. They're the people that they have on this team, like you said, with Gyökeres and Isak and Elanga. They also Bergvall. Also, I think he had a good game in the midfield. They definitely look like somebody who could make some noise, but I am also not discounting like Norway's team with the likes of Odegaard a lot better than he's ever looked in Arsenal this season. I felt like it was a much better performance from him than I've seen in the past like few months. But yeah, both Nordic teams did well. Like, to summarize it for me, like Czechia versus Korea was a game when it's like Korea was clearly better with the ball and Czechia was just much more physical and taller. Yeah. These games, 100%. It was like, we are physical and taller, but we also are good with the ball. Good with the ball. Yeah. And we have fucking Erling Haaland. So like,
I agree with that. I agree. I think Czechia in both games were like, we're just really big, actually. Yeah. We're much bigger than you.
We're fucking huge. Yeah. So try and score.
Yeah. 100%.
I guess we'll move on. You want to move on to Canada now? First World Cup win?
I mean, it's your call. You tell me.
I think we covered basically everything there is. All the big games.
I already said I wasn't impressed by Argentina, so I'm not covering that.
I'll touch on this quickly just because we talked about it a bit in the last episode. The Iran-New Zealand game, banger of a game. I hope you watched. Fucking banger.
It was crazy. So many goals.
A lot of these random games Ecuador, Ivory Coast.
I love that you're calling it a random game.
Well,
it's like it just reminds me like if you're with your friends and you're playing FIFA, it's like, okay, let's pick random teams. Random three times.
Let's just alienate a whole nation and people. These games with quote unquote lower level teams have been actually more fun to watch, in my opinion. Ivory Coast, Ecuador, Iran, New Zealand, Tunisia, Sweden, Norway, Iraq. They were much more fun. Iran should have won this game, in my opinion. New Zealand are the worst ranked team in this World Cup. There were so many chances for Iran to win. This was really, really big chance for them to take a lead ahead of this group with the draw in the Belgium game and Egypt. Basically, Chris Wood was the only outlet, but like I know Just scored both of the goals, but Chris Wood was like the only good player on their team.
Chris Wood had a great game, to be fair. Chris Wood had a great game. I thought,
but like they let him. Like I was shocked with how poorly the defenders played. The Iranian defenders, they just let him have so much time on the ball, and I'm like, that he's the tallest guy on the field, and all he does is just hold up the ball for the wingers to run in behind, and you're gonna give him that much time? Like, are you genuinely serious? Like, I don't know. Credit to the Iranians. Obviously, they came back twice to tie the game, but obviously it was a conflicting situation, specifically for me and my friend who's also Iranian. We were talking about it. I was watching the game at the restaurant I work at, so we didn't have the game audio, but he had it, and he was saying that like the sound was immense anytime like Iran got the ball, the players, let alone like when they scored, there was huge amounts of cheering. I don't want to get into politics again. We already spoke about that, but personally, I just felt very like conflicted. I felt sad because I was like, I just want our nation to be happy and for us to have a good run at the World Cup. But unfortunately, given the political situation, the stuff that's going on with them having to leave and FIFA and, the flags and everything, we can't even just have a good World Cup run. At the same time, we did mention about players being affiliated with the regime. It is what it is. I don't want to get into that. Honestly, I think they played well. It's going to be really tough against Belgium this Sunday. They missed a chance to, take a lead ahead in the group, but it's a weird situation personally for myself to be in that place. We'll see how they do. I hope they do well just for the nation's sake and for people to have some happiness. I guess I'll just end off on that. I don't want to get too political again.
No, I mean, again, I want them to do well because it's nice when a nation that's come from an unheralded place with a lot going on has something to hang their hat on. Obviously, there's a lot going on that's way too complicated to get into in the back half of a predominantly football podcast. But
what's your opinion on OPEC?
Jesus Christ. But yeah, it was a very fun game. It definitely rewarded me for watching it. Definitely.
Yeah, banger game.
Yeah, so if you want, you can keep talking about Canada.
Yeah. Anyway, Canada, after I would say poor result against Bosnia. I really wasn't impressed with Jonathan David. I was like, if there's a reason they're not going to do well in the group, it's because he can't hit the broadside of a barn door. Oluwase was the same. I agree with the memes. It was like pictures of prime Spain when they won the 2010 World Cup, and it was like Canada before they entered the box. They were great. This team is a very Jesse Marsh team that they are vulnerable on the counterattack. They're vulnerable on set pieces. You saw it from Bosnia, but they're fun to watch. They play attacking football, and in this game against a much lesser opponent in Qatar, yes, obviously red cards helped them, but they were really good. They were immense. They constantly attacked. They were on the front foot. Finally, David obviously got a hat trick. Kudos to him. Incredibly great game. He finally found his scoring touch. Kyle Larin as well. The whole team played really, really well. Again, you have to put the note. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer that it was Qatar, and unlike the game in Switzerland, they really offered nothing. The red cards really played a factor. The first one, from my understanding that I've watched from this refereeing Instagram, it basically clears. Yes, it was harsh, but by the rule of denying an obvious goal scoring, you have to give a red card. So it is what it is. It was great. Unfortunately for Canada, and really, really unfortunate for Ishmael Kone, a horrible, horrible injury. His leg is snapped. You can hear it on the live game commentary. I actually didn't really see what happened. It just looked like the Qatari player kind of just cleared under him. But it was just really unlucky, and I feel really bad. It was because it was their first win. Kone was playing great as well. He's really important in their team because he's their only box-to-box player. Saliba did come on. He scored an immense free kick. Obviously, held up Kone's jersey. It was a beautiful scene. You would expect the team's level to drop after a catastrophic injury like that. That's so traumatizing, but it didn't. But I'm concerned with how they replace Kone because I really think his box-to-box ability is going to be missed. I really wish him a speedy recovery. I feel really sad just for that type of player. Anytime it happens to a young player and a win and at a World Cup, for a World Cup or your tournament to end like that, it's really harsh. I think they might have to go to a 3 in midfield actually now, because I really don't think they have a like for like replacement. I think they maybe have to bring in like Saliba and Osorio or whoever else you want to bring in, but then you also then have to play David alone. And do you trust that to happen? The game against Switzerland is going to be an interesting one, and just generally going forward. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, what I agree with 100% is that what happened to Kone is really sad. It's unlucky. It's one of those things that you don't want to happen to a young player, especially at a World Cup, and that basically like it's going to affect his career one way or another.
Yeah.
Even if he comes back completely healthy, at some point, it's going to cost him like a year of his career
At least, yeah,
on the low end, exactly. So that sucks, and you never want to see that happen. And it's obviously a big miss for Canada because there is not really a profile like him that they can bring off the bench. Besides that, yeah, I mean, like, I won't say I was impressed with Canada. It's Qatar. Qatar's awful. Like, I think that's what made me so not impressed with Switzerland. It's the fact that, like, yes, Qatar looked like they could get at them, but, like, I was like, they shouldn't look like that. Like, and I know that the Bosnia game also gets kind of opened up a bit by a red card that Bosnia takes, and it's like, why is Switzerland looking this way? Like, it looks like their generation has aged out or something, or that they're just not clicking. Like, it just looks awful.
They should have scored at least 3. Like, they just got so lazy and didn't take away their chance.
Oh yeah, like against Qatar, yeah, they did have a lot of chances. They just weren't putting it away, and they obviously got bitten in the butt for that. But yeah, I mean, Canada took care of business. Look, they put themselves in a position where the only way they don't get out of this group is if they completely melt down against Switzerland. They would have to lose by like 4 or 5 goals, and then like Bosnia wins by a goal, or no, by more than a goal. Because I
more
think,
than
like,
a goal, yeah.
Yeah, so the goal difference right now, I had it right here.
It's +4, I think, for Canada, right?
Yes. No, plus
6.
Is...
+6 for Canada.
+6 for Canada.
+3 for Switzerland.
+6 for Canada, +3 for Switzerland, and Bosnia is -3. Yeah, so like Canada would have to lose by 6 goals, and Bosnia would have to win by 4. So it's done. Like, and even more so the fact that like both Canada and Switzerland now can
play for a draw,
more or less play for a draw, yeah, and just like be fine with it. So they've done their job. I'm interested to see what Jesse Marsch does now that he's obviously going to be missing a valuable player. In my mind, there's no way you can leave Jonathan David alone. I know people are going to be like, "Oh, he scored his 2 goals. He's back." No, it's Qatar. Kyle Larin, like the way that he takes that first goal and how good his positioning has been and how hard he's worked, he should start. Like, if you're going to go with one person up top, it should be Kyle Larin. Like,
I don't disagree with that.
If Jonathan David is the starting 9 by himself on this team, Jesse Marsch is not a serious person, and I will never talk about him again. Like, I just don't care. Like, Jonathan David is cheeks, bro. Like, he scored 2 against Qatar. Like, at a certain point, like, we got to put this into perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like he's having a bad season. Like, we liked him before the season at Juventus, and his growth was slow, but it was there. But yeah, like, I don't disagree. He's been cheeks this season. Like, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn door if he wanted to in the first.
Fabrizio Romano, though, he tweeted about the brace. He tweeted about it. In the second it happened, he's like, I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like,
but yeah, that was their first World Cup win, and what a way to win! Like, 6-0.
I've been like the host nation that's been the most impressive is the States, and we're recording
and they're up 2-0 right now.
I was gonna say we're not watching the game because obviously we're recording this, but they're up 2-0 against Australia. An Australia team that, like, again, yes, I understand it's Australia, but they beat Turkey. And basically the States is gonna have their qualification all wrapped up. They win this game, they're top of the group. And would you pick them top of the group?
No.
Before? No, like you would said Turkey.
I said Turkey, US. I'm pretty sure I said that. Yeah. I think we both did.
Yeah. And they handled Paraguay, like, easily. So, we
didn't mention them, obviously, in the teams that did well, but, like, they did really well against Paraguay. But obviously, Paraguay didn't do themselves any favors. Like, Paraguay was really poor.
No, they were fucking terrible, too.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be like Mexico looks good as well, definitely. But if I'm ranking them, it's probably USA, Mexico, Canada, like in that order.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely good for Canada that they've gotten their first win. I think it's important to get the first win out of the way to like, put yourself in a good spot. And obviously now they're all but assured. So
yeah,
I think it's good for them. I'm obviously interested to see what they do post the injury. And there's, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm very, very curious. Very curious. Mexico's officially the first team to secure their spot because they won 2 of their games. And obviously America looks like they're very close to doing the same. So not to devolve this into like a bracket thing, but since I'm pretty sure we're done, right? Like there's nothing else we got to talk about.
That's it. I mean, like we mentioned Argentina. It's like we weren't depressed. It was Algeria. It is what it is. Messi got a red card. Whatever.
I don't give a fuck about
yeah. Listen, if Scotland wins today,
they're top of the group.
Scotland topping the group of Brazil, Morocco, and Haiti.
I'm telling you, man.
That's crazy.
Well, and like again, Scotland, they did not put in the most convincing performance against Haiti, but it's there for them. Yeah, they have to. Yeah, so if America finishes top of the group, which looks like it's more likely, they will play the third place team of either B, E, F, I, or J.
Okay.
So that's either one of Canada's group, which they would happily take.
Yeah, probably Bosnia.
One of Germany, Ivory Coast, or Ecuador.
Or probably Ivory Coast or Ecuador, yeah.
B, Sweden, Japan, or the Netherlands.
Yeah. And J.
I and J.
Oh,
right?
I. So France, and then Senegal, Norway, and Argentina, Austria. I don't take your pick of Algeria or Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, again, depending on, and the scary one would be if they get the one from the Ecuador group, because Germany, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador, or even the Sweden, Japan, Netherlands one, because even though the Netherlands don't look as good, that's obviously a historic team. But I think the way they've played, you'd have to back them, and we'll see. I'm gonna try to watch the back half of this game as much as I can, and obviously rewatch the first half later on, and try to tune in for their game against Turkey, which, as much as Turkey came out the gates stumbling, they're still Turkey, so you would expect them to turn it on. And for Turkey, it'll be important to get that win. So yeah, I'm interested. I mean, and Turkey also plays today against Paraguay, and both teams will be looking to bounce back, right? If Turkey loses to Paraguay,
thank you for coming.
Like, honestly though, like,
we're good.
Imagine they lose, because I mean, even a draw puts them in a really ugly spot.
Yeah, because we haven't mentioned it, but like, does this like really like put a stunt in the growth of Goulet and like Kenan Yildiz? I don't think so, but like,
I don't know if it stunts their growth, but I think it's going to make everybody kind of press the brake on the hype. I think both of them have been hyped a lot, and I think people saw a bit of what we've criticized Goulet for in that game. Bad decision making, easily bullied off the ball. That's what happened. Like, Australia just out physical Turkey, which sounds weird to say.
Give me the ball.
Like, they were literally pushing him off of it constantly. Like, he was not doing good in the midfield. And like, genuinely, there's a lot of people. We always end up at Real Madrid. Don't worry, guys. This podcast is almost over. This is the last thing we say before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
But like, people have this idea that he's going to be like the Mesut Ozil of this Jose Mourinho thing.
Stop.
And I'm like, I don't know if Mourinho is going to like the way that he plays or the physicality that he has. Like, Jose likes having guys who are physically capable and like strong and fast, and I do not think Goulet fits that. Like, I do not
at all.
Fits that. Not at all. I do think some red flags for him, just in general.
Okay, we don't deal in hypotheticals, but if Brazil gets a draw against Haiti, how are you feeling?
Oh man, that's like red alarm shit, because then they have to go into the Scotland game. Like, to be honest, the thing that would help Brazil the most is if Scotland just beat Morocco, because then then by the time they get Scotland in the last game, they're not playing for anything, right? Like, it's just kind of whatever. A draw kind of, basically, I think Brazil just don't want Morocco to win. Like, any other result kind of favors them.
Obviously them losing is even more catastrophic. We don't see that happening at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, them getting a draw and Morocco winning is a problem.
And you say that, but like I criticize Scotland a bit. Not just me. Like I was watching it with a bunch of Scottish people, and a lot of them were more nervy than they expected to be for a game against Haiti. But what I will say is that Haiti did look like they're physically capable of moving the ball quickly, counterattacking quick. The quality's not there, but you just need one goal. You just need one goal, and the quality in Brazil's defense isn't there either. So Haiti could be dangerous, like because Brazil is going to have to be the one to create things, and they're going to be in the front foot. Now, look,
we could say this, and they could win 7-0 today.
100%. Like Brazil could just carve them to pieces. Like this isn't a possibility. We've seen other teams. We've already mentioned them. Qatar put a really credible showing of themselves, and then get blown to bits. Like all it takes is a red card, a bad decision, here, there, whatever. Like the first game of World Cup, I think it's easier to G yourself up for, because like, oh, first time amongst the fans, you're gonna hear it, and like, but this game against Brazil, one of the classic, and to a certain degree, and people laugh when I say this, but it's like you are playing the myth of Brazil still in some of these players' hands. So they're still going to look at the yellow shirts and they're going to be like, fuck, it's the yellow shirts of Brazil, you know?
Yeah.
So
do they fear it as much though? Is the question. Yeah.
You would have to ask them. I mean, how do you feel? Because like Portugal, who do they have next?
We have
Uzbekistan.
They have Uzbekistan. Yo, they played well. They played well against Colombia. I know they lost 3-1, but like
they made Colombia work for it for sure.
Yeah. Martinez has to figure shit out. If he doesn't figure shit out, then I'm going to go back to my my head pick of England or whatever. Whatever you want to call it.
What if Portugal draw against Uzbekistan?
I'm just fucking losing my mind. Don't talk to me. Don't. I'm gonna come on this, and there would be profanity like you've never heard before. Hey, anything can happen. Honestly, you know what? That's what's great about the World Cup, though. These crazy upsets that we don't expect. Like, it's such a great tournament. So many things can happen. It's so great to see these small nations, like, at the World Cup showing themselves. One of my friends, he was just like, like he's not that into soccer. He's like, yo, like I just, he's like, I don't get it. Like, what's with the hoopla with the World Cup? And then I sent him a picture of the the Scotland Haiti game, and I'm like, look at the stadium. This is like bigger than the Super Bowl, and this is a Scotland Haiti group game. So don't talk to me about like the World Cup not being the biggest like sporting event ever. Like, it just is. It's like there's so much national pride at stake, just representing even not winning, even getting destroyed 7-1 by Germany, like just showcasing yourself on that stage and your fans coming out. It's just such a spectacle. So, hey, 100%. I hope this being said, I really, really hope Portugal wins against Uzbekistan. We're going to clip this, aren't we?
I mean,
fuck.
Oh God, Uzbekistan.
Oh God,
that's what the World Cup does to you. We're talking about a potential draw against Uzbekistan.
Anyway, well,
good stuff.
We covered a lot. Obviously, these ones will be a little longer because of there's so much stuff to cover.
But yeah, get this out ASAP, and then when match day 2 finishes, it'll be great, and then match day 3 it'll be even easier because a lot of those games will be played at the same time.
Yeah,
wipe that all away.
Yeah, groups will be more wrapped up. And then, round of 32. There's a game in Toronto. Could be an interesting one. It's runner-up Group K versus runner-up Group L.
Right. So that's actually one of the Portugal group.
Yeah. Versus
Portugal or Colombia probably versus someone from Argentina, Austria.
Yeah. I was looking at like resale tickets. I didn't buy them because they're astronomical. But like I was telling my friend, I was like, yo, what if it's like, Portugal, Croatia? And then he's like, okay, but what if it's Panama, Uzbekistan? I'm like, fuck. You're right,
man. But Panama, Uzbekistan, banger.
8-goal banger, 4-4.
Imagine.
They win on pens.
It goes to pens.
Yeah. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed. Let us know your thoughts on the World Cup. How's your team doing? How's the team that you picked doing? How's the nation that you support doing? What are your thoughts on who's done well, who hasn't? Lots of games to be played. Again, we'll get this out ASAP. Lots of content coming out. Anything else we want to add, Ruben?
No, man, just keep enjoying the games. It's been great.
Yeah, enjoying the games. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.